Hey there. Although I am involved with CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada, the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the participants and do not reflect those of CADAC. And now, cue the music.
This is the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, a show for high-achieving ADHD entrepreneurs. Together, we will inform and educate you about how to improve your self-awareness while developing systems, routines, and habits for conquering the entrepreneurial world. Here is your host, André Brisson.
Hey there, it's André with another short for the Impulsive Thinker Podcast for the high-achieving ADHD entrepreneur. This episode is brought to you by CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada. You can get more information at www.caddac.ca. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a concept from my DBT group therapy. I am the Dialectical Behaviour Therapy. It's a concept that was outlined by Marcia M. Linehan. She's the developer and the creator of the Dialectical Behavioral Therapy concept and the program. And it's called Wise Mind and States of Mind. So picture this. You got one circle, okay? This is the reasonable mind on the left. Reasonable mind, okay? Reasonable mind is cool, rational, and task-focused. When in reasonable mind, you are ruled by facts, reason, logic, and pragmatics. Values and feelings are not important. Now let's take a second circle, okay? Second circle called the emotional mind, the emotion mind. It's hot, mood-dependent, emotion-focused. When you are in an emotion mind, you are ruled by your moods, feelings, and urges to do or say things. Facts, reason, and logic are not important. I'm going to underline that because that's very, very important. Okay, so now the wise mind is, now let's take the reasonable mind circle and the emotion mind circle and let's put them together where they start to overlap a little bit. Let's say about a quarter lap, okay? So where the emotion mind and the reasonable mind overlap is what is called the wise mind. Now, the wise mind is the wisdom within each person, seeing the value of both reason and emotion, bringing the left brain and the right brain together, also known as the middle path, or how the middle path is achieved with your wise mind. So, reasonable mind, you're ruled by facts, reason, logic, and pragmatics. Values and feelings are not important. When in emotion mind, you are ruled by your moods, feelings, and urges. And facts, reason, and logic are not important. So those are two key aspects of reasonable mind and emotion mind. Now, put them together, it's the wise mind, where the wisdom of each person, we see the value of both reason and emotion, and we find a middle path that works well. When I learned this concept to me, this would put a lot of things into perspective. So now the challenge is what mind are you in when you're dealing with certain things? Are you in reasonable mind or emotion mind? Or what is a wise mind? So in the theory of DBT is, if I'm going to start being emotion mind and just react emotionally, and I'm no longer worried about facts, reason, or logic, my mind is ruled by my moods, my feelings, and my urges, based on my history, and I'm sure as you as a listener you can see, a lot. Sometimes when the emotions take over, we're not making really good decisions at times. And if we're fully in reasonable mind, the facts, the reason, logics take over, and the emotional side of things is kind of neglected or ignored. So every side has its positives and negatives. Now the challenge is, if we're stuck in emotional mind and it's going rapid and it's controlling me, the concept I'm trying to get at, so I apologize here, I'm rambling a little bit, but now I just remember what my point was. So I'm stuck in the emotional mind. The whole theory with DBT on this is to stop, recognize I'm in emotion mind. What will the wise mind do? It's like a stopgap. It's like, hey, whoa, what will the wise mind do? So that forces me to go into reasonable mind while I'm also respecting and thinking of the emotion mind, okay? Now, for me, I believe I spent a lot of time in reasonable mind. especially when I'm problem solving, when I'm working on projects for engineering, or when I'm helping other people understand their strengths and abilities. I'm really in the reasonable mind. That's where a lot of my value is provided as an entrepreneur consultant, is my objective, reasonable and rational thinking of problems and situations without the emotions attached to making the decisions. Now, don't get me wrong. When I execute or I communicate my decision, I have to keep the emotional side of other people's behaviors, feelings, and awareness in mind when I'm delivering it. But in the end, I have an ability to just keep the emotions out of it, look at the reasonable facts, the facts, the reasons, and the pragmatic. I'm very pragmatic. I get a lot of compliments saying I have very objective opinions. Not everyone agrees with them, but in the end, based on the facts, I have a lot of good objective direction. Now, when I am in emotional mind, this is where I run into a lot of problems because I really toss out the reasonable mind out. I no longer care about facts, especially when the emotional dysregulation takes over and my ADHD brain says, I'm not going to prevent you from controlling yourself or get into wise mind. And this is where, the moods, the feelings, the urges to do or say something, especially with the impulsivity, it just rampantly comes out quick. And afterwards, I'm going, whoopsies. Now my reasonable mind comes in and says, whoopsies. And that wasn't really good. Here's the facts and pragmatics of it, and you got to go back and fix it. So the goal with the DBT is to not always be in wise mind. The goal is to realize which mind are you in and pull yourself into wise mind so that you can actually see both sides of the mind, make reasonable decisions also based on emotions and vice versa. So now the other thing too is, especially with my ability to deal with people's strengths and experiences, I'm also valued for being reasonable and being of wise mind. So based on the facts and the reasons of the discussion, I can tie in with the emotional mind and their abilities to provide them a middle ground or a middle road or middle path to see something different and to recognize that this is a better path for them because it respects their abilities and both sides of the mind, and so they can enjoy life a little more. I thought I'd share with you this DBT concept of wise mind and states of mind. And I wonder if you can let me know what you think, but where are you right now? Are you more so in the emotion mind or the reasonable mind? From day to day, do you think you're in one mind more than the other? I think I'm more of a reasonable mind type of person, and I check the emotion stuff, but I know when my emotions take over me, I really lock into the emotion mind and just push away the reasonable mind. And I'm catching myself a lot more now saying, we got to stop. Let's get back into wise mind. What would the wise mind say? And that's the mantra. Basically, no matter what side, reasonable or emotion mind, we want to check that, stop that, and say, hey, what will the wise mind do? And it really helps with the middle path to bring everything together and to come up with solutions and directions that respects your beliefs, that respects your wants, your needs, and at the same time, the wants and needs of others. If you Google wise mind, states of mind, you should be able to find this diagram. It's two circles. One circle is the reasonable mind. The other one's emotion mind. Overlap them, and in the middle, the area that's overlapped by both is called the wise mind. The wise mind, you see the value of both reason and emotion, bringing the left brain and the right brain together so you can find the middle path. Thanks again for listening. Hope to see you soon. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Impulsive Thinker podcast. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for the show, please visit theimpulsivethinker.com. The Impulsive Thinker podcast is produced by Tactical Breakthroughs and hosted by André Brisson. Remember, ADHD is only a part of you, not all of you.